The best health coaching practices are the ones that are customized to you. And global health coaching practices can look like all sorts of things. And I am so excited to share with you this unique take on it. We have the amazing Jeremy Mays. Welcome, Jeremy.
Thank you.
So Jeremy is in Costa Rica. So he has been an executive chef in Colorado and now has his own organic farm in Costa Rica and is showing that your health coaching practice can be customized to you and build off of your strengths so that you can make the difference that you know you are meant to do. So we're going to hear about his story and we're going to hear about your story, Jeremy, and how exactly did you do it? When I see you, I really kind of look at it's where food meets wellness. That's really that sums up the key pieces about you. And we're gonna go on a journey of like how did you come to do this? What are some things that you're including? And it might give some people some ideas of either what can they do for their own health, or if there's health coaches that are tuning in, what could they incorporate in their business as well? So tell us a little bit about your background. How did this all get started? Like, tell us a little bit about whether you were interested in health and what you were doing and what led you to be where you are right now.
I'll start at a young age. I guess as I was kind of just becoming a teenager, my parents divorced, and because of that, I was asked to help with dinners, making dinners, and preparing the food, which kind of just sparked a little bit of an interest to me, And then as I became old enough to have a job, just a few years later, when I was about 15 or 16, being a cook at a restaurant seemed to, was very interesting to me. And so I did it and I was good at it. And just really enjoyed it. And so it just kind of stuck with me. And so that just kind of evolved. Also earlier in my life, or my whole life, my dad was a landscaper. And so just working in the dirt kind of just has been almost in my blood. Um, and so, um, I was eventually be able to become the executive chef at the restaurant, and that was just a lot of fun. But it came with its I don't know what to say, just not challenges, but just this view of the food industry, that
Yeah,
really kind of started to say, like, boy, this is something's wrong here.
yeah.
And I don't mean the restaurant industry, I mean the food industry as a
Hmm.
whole.
Hmm.
And so kind of took all of my knowledge and my experiences in my life, and we ended up we always kind of wanted to move to to the tropics, and we chose Costa Rica mainly because of agriculture, and which so now here we are kind of bringing everything together and being able to use some of my different experiences in my life, and we've just started an organic farm, homestead type farm, but yeah.
I love that how it comes full circle. And so I
Yeah.
think, in our lives, and this is sort of stretched out now over many years, that this has kind of been building and that love for food. And, if you're cooking, to help your mom out, then your first job, it makes sense. You already have some skill set. And then as you advance and you're now an executive chef and at that high level, um, tell us a little bit about, without going too far down a dark rabbit hole here, but I know from my perspective, having been a medical doctor for 25 years, um, I had a front row seat as to what is wrong with the medical system. And like, there's something wrong with all the systems. So like, it's doing the best it can from where it is, at the time, and it served us at one point, but at some point, it sort of gets way off track from what the original intent was. And when you say, because you would have a front row seat at food, if you will, like actual like food source. What were some of the things that were bothering you? Like, because some people might be listening and they're like, well, what do you mean? And
Sure.
and because I know firsthand about the medical system, but tell us a little bit about like what was some of the things that were kind of concerning for you
Yeah.
with the food industry that would really prompt us this. For some people, this might be a radical thing, like moving to another country and like, really like, okay, let's
Sure.
get into the soil
Yeah.
and let's start from scratch here.
Sure.
Like, what was it that you saw that inspired that move?
There were two things, and I'll start with the first. Was at the restaurant that I was the executive chef at was a very very high volume restaurant. It was a brew pub, and so the food that we were serving wasn't necessarily what you would consider healthy.
Hmm.
Although I did change the menu and gave it more of a healthier flair.
Yeah,
Uh, but it was a lot of burgers and fries and nachos, and so
yeah,
um, and the portion sizes that we were serving was staggering,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you know, and so you kind of see that aspect of it that it's just like and then on one hand it's like I would see the plates come back, right? And so you got this double-edged sword
Mm.
kind of because sometimes you'd see the plates come back and they're empty and you're like, gosh, they ate all that
Yeah,
food.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
then on the other hand, then you see the plate that come back and it just all this food goes in the trash.
Yeah.
And so it was both things that I was seeing, and so this is where I really started seeing like there's two aspects to the food system that's broken. One is we're consuming too much,
Yeah.
and in order to to keep that consumption going, the food producers, the farms, the ranchers, all this, they're just pushing out all this food. And
Hmm.
how is this being done?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that
Mhm.
was the question that I was like, how are we doing this? Like, how is this sustainable? And that's where that's kind of was the catch. One thing I didn't mention is I also went into food sales after I was a chef, and so I was a food salesman where I sold to restaurants, and
Hmm.
that was even more that I was just like then I got to see the warehouse and all of the food that was being shipped in and out of the warehouses, and it was just like, oh my goodness, like there is a real problem with our food system.
Yeah. And like there's one thing about volume and then it's another thing about, the quality. Like there's the quantity and then there's the quality. And then because we are what we eat, and I always say we're DNA wrapped in food. Like what we eat is the building blocks that our body has to use to build who we are, and
Right.
sort of junk in and junk out kind of thing. Like you only have so much to and then on the other hand, you can appreciate, somebody's got a restaurant and they're trying to do big portion sizes, value, so people come
Oh yeah.
back, so they support their family, and it becomes a really complex issue, and you're like, okay, but this could be better. Like this is not good. Now, so that's the one side of it. Now, like a lot of times, as people look to transition from, so it feels like all of that was like a setup. Like that was the first half of the setup for
Yeah.
your current career. And then the next half, so there's the food half, and then it's where the food meets the wellness. And so like talk about the health aspect of it and like what had you become a health coach and what had you even be interested in health? Like obviously now we know food's linked to health. I don't think that a lot of people realized, maybe way a long time ago they realized it, but I think there was like this huge, big, messy middle aspect of a lot of people's lives where like, and maybe, and still today, people are not necessarily realizing like you literally are what you eat. So like when you're eating this artificial stuff, like, it's not actually food. So what had you get interested in the wellness thing? Like tell us about like either your personal or family experience that had you like really be aware of the health aspect of this.
So again, kind of going back into to my past a little bit. So I was, fairly young, in my maybe early mid 20s, and actually just it was. I won't get into the whole story of it all, but basically just kind of had a misdiagnosis of hypoglycemia, and it just kind of just spurred something for me because my family, my whole dad side of my whole family is diabetic.
Mhm.
Grandfather died from diabetes. My dad died from diabetes, and one of my uncles also, and so that was obviously what I'm talking about. What happened before those deaths, but they were still diabetic at that point,
Yeah.
and so it scared me, to have that diagnosis and albeit it was a misdiagnosis, but nevertheless, it just kind of woke me up. Just said, I want to be more intentional about my health,
Hmm. Hmm.
and actually like be healthy. And so it's been a journey, of course. I mean, it's just mid 20-year-old. I mean, it's not like I was like the picture of health at that point, but I just was more intentional, right?
Yeah.
A lot of less processed food and stuff like that. Um, and so that's really kind of what really got me to be interested in health. And again, as an evolution to what brought me to today is um, coaching is just something that I really enjoy a lot, just in
Mhm.
general. I mean, you could put, any number of subjects in front of me, and it's just like I think that I'm a really good listener,
Mhm.
as well as somebody who can, when the time is right, to come back and say, let's try this, right? But so as I was kind of deciding what field, I wanted to go into, the IIN, came in front of me, which is
Yeah.
and I just, I think this is it, like I'm passionate about health. I really enjoy learning about health, my own health, and and I think this is it. So yeah, it's kind of how it all evolved.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, IIN, Institute for Integrative Nutrition, if people aren't familiar, is well, the world's largest health coaching school. And it is where I got my start as well after having been a medical doctor for 25 years. And I felt like I found my people. And the interesting thing is I say that, and then if it felt like home, it felt like, oh my gosh, like these are people who think like me. And yet within that group, tremendous diversity. Like
Yeah.
everybody has their own take, but because within the philosophy there is bioindividuality. And so like, what works for you doesn't necessarily work for someone else. And there's an honoring and a respect of that. And it's all good. And so, and like, for example, like broccoli, very healthy food. I talk about it being superfood, but there was a good 20 years that I would get sick when I eat broccoli. So not super for food for me at that time. And so so you have to, you know, it's not like some kind of dogma, like this is the good food and that is the bad food. It's not like that. But it really also was a wonderful way to open up my eyes and assume your eyes too, to even more like what's behind our food system and what goes into it and like it with the food, the health, and you're like, and it's really helpful. Like education is really good for eye opening and awareness. And then it's up to you to say, okay, well, how can I make that better? And the thing that I love is, they help people how to coach, but then you can really the other, for me, and I don't know if it was the same for you, but when I was there, I saw people run with that knowledge in all sorts of different ways. Some people created documentaries to highlight things. Some people wrote books. Some people spoke. Some people coached one-on-one. Some people coached to a number of groups of. Some people created chocolate companies and juice companies and all sorts of things and literally everything in between. We're going to talk more about how this has evolved too, and to kind of like allow your journey to unfold. Don't judge it. Like, kind of keep doing the best that you can do. But like I always say, if you feel good, you're going in the right direction. But when you went to IIN, your plan as your health coach career, um, or was that the plan? Was it just to find out more, or was the plan like I want to be a health coach? Or tell me a little bit about your vision there, and then kind of how it's evolved since.
Yeah. As I said, I had interest in being a coach. Let's just
Yeah,
be like, it was a coach,
that was what. Yeah.
yeah. And so when I saw the IIN, it was just like, okay, yeah, this is it, this is it for me. And so, yes, when I went to the IIN, it was my plan to be a health coach. And while that still exists today, it's definitely there's still some evolution going on there. And now that we're you know, haven't mentioned yet that we now have a farm here that in Costa Rica. It's new. It's we are probably at this point we're about 90 days in, and so it's just kind of at the beginning stages of things. And so of course it's organic. That's the whole idea. And to help fix the food system, is to
Hmm.
sustainably. Um, and so now it's become this idea of really being able to teach people from that perspective of the how the food is grown and how we consume it, and so it's a whole package, right, of it's not just about, oh, I need to eat, one salad every day or whatever, but it's like, what kind of salad are you eating,
Yeah.
or where's that food come from, I guess.
You're getting to the root of the root and
There
into
we
the
go.
soil that the roots are in. We're getting
That's
so
right.
to the root that we're talking about the soil. And I love that. I think you were saying you'd watched was it a movie recently?
Yeah, one of the quotes in there was, our health begins at the soil. You
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
that really resonates with me a lot. In this that I think a lot of us know there's a major problem with pesticides and herbicide uses and stuff like that in our world, and there may be a good number of people who understand that the soil is going in the wrong direction, and so. Um, it's just it's a simple concept, but yeah, it's just like growing good food out of good soil is more nourishing to our bodies. So
Yeah. I remember now the stat will be old and I probably will mess it up here. But the essence is the same.
sure.
So don't fact check me on here, but it's just in general, it's something like this. That I remember that I think it was in the 50s maybe, where a woman could get her daily iron from a bowl of spinach. And
Mhm.
then fast forward sometime in the 2000s, that it would take a woman 51's a number I remember. So 51 bowls of spinach to get her daily iron. And so the thing is, um, the, if we have these pesticides and insecticides that are killing off all those microorganisms, well, the thing is, some of those microorganisms were helpful to get the iron that's in the soil into the plant. And
Right.
so the thing is, if we've killed those off, if it's not in the plant and then we eat it, it's not in us. And so like that's just like one simple example that I remember and being aware of as I'm help when I was a health coach. And I'm like, I mean, it makes a difference. And so like people will think, oh yeah, I had my spinach, I had my salad, but like, are you getting the nutrition from that? And so like, and it becomes a huge problem because like for most of us, we're going to the grocery store, we're going to restaurants, we're eating the food that's in front of us. And like, we don't, we feel like we don't have any control over like how it's grown, or that is like this big, huge thing, much like the medical industry. It's like gotten like so, like, how is one little person going to do any little change on this? Like, what can you do? And I really love how you've taken like that knowledge, that awareness, and going, how can we make it better? And then somewhere along the way, you're traveling and you're seeing Costa Rica and you're like, this is tropical. This is awesome. Winter is maybe better here. Who knows? And then you're like, hey, maybe we could do this all the time. And maybe there's an opportunity to kind of get out ahead of it and take control of ourselves,
Right.
and really be more intentional with it.
Mhm.
And then see how we can take this idea and then have it grow, which is where you're at now. Like you've got it, you're doing it for yourself, you're eating off the farm,
Yeah.
and then teaching others and just bringing awareness to people, and then to help. And it kind of, I really love how your story intertwines all of these facets that we've kind of talked about your family and your own experience and your professional experience, your personal experience, and how it's led to this beautiful thing. And then you're almost think like, hey, maybe this was always meant to be like this.
Yeah.
You start to have
Totally.
that thing. And so, who is it that you are especially passionate about helping now, Jeremy?
I want to help diabetics that are struggling with, maybe weight gain and low energy, other issues, that kind of go around those. But really what I want to do is help those people understand how to eat healthy
Hmm.
and and make it simple. That's the other thing. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just like I know from experience how difficult cooking is. It's a lot of work, and of course I like to do it, so it
Hmm.
doesn't bother me, but so many people hate to cook,
Yeah.
and so it's my passion to help these people understand how to do it and do it simply and make it and
Hmm.
delicious too. It's like
Hmm.
it's not just like this bowl of salad, that I
Yeah.
gotta eat,
Yeah.
and it's like, no, we can do this and make it delicious, but also make it simple so that it's not a drag,
Yeah.
to do. So
Yeah,
So
and that leads to those sustainable transformations. Like if you love to do it, you're going to keep doing it. And I think that's one
exactly.
of the things that you're so masterful at. Like given your background as a chef, you know how to make things taste great. But then, given your background as a health coach, you know how to make them healthy. And then, especially also as a coach, and someone you're like, if it's not simple, they're not going to do it. And if they're not doing it, well, then we haven't really changed anything here. And so I think that blend is that's why I kind of like when I see you, Jeremy, I think it's where food meets wellness. And I know all health coaches are kind of like that, but like I think people are starting to get like but this is next level. They're like where the food meets the wellness, and your particular way of doing it. And I really love that. I really love that you've learned this and that you know how to do that. And I know being a guy, that you especially help a lot of diabetic, pre-diabetic men. And
Yeah.
then being in Costa Rica, I know a lot of the people that you're helping are also, and that are coming to you asking for help are also other expats, right? So that they're like, so they might like have a similar culture and things of food and cultures into food so much. And so really to blending that all. And so I really, I love that aspect of it because we have a lot of health coaches here that we interview that mainly focus on women and not too many that focus on men. So I really like you're really a guy's guy that you're able to
Yeah.
help men or people too.
That's right. We
And
need help too. Everybody.
and sometimes they are wanting more help with cooking. I mean, that's a total stereotype as I talk to a chef. But a lot of times in a lot of traditional relationships, somebody else is doing some of their cooking for them, which they've really, let go of the reins or control of their health. They're kind of like just eating. So when they do find themselves with a chronic illness, they don't even know where to start. And I think people want to be well, they want to be healthy, they want to be happy. They just don't know exactly what to do. And that's really where you come in, Jeremy, is like, showing them exactly like simple steps. Keep it simple, keep it delicious, and away you go. And it makes a difference. If it didn't make a difference, but it makes a difference. So I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah. What do you like best about being a health coach from your perspective? What's your favorite part?
Yeah, the freedom of it, especially now, having all of this having a farm to tend to, but it's not so much and I don't want to say to tend to because it's so fun to go out there and be in the plants and stuff. So there's a lot
Yes.
of freedom involved in that.
Yeah.
So being able to be able to know that I can go out into my farm and be with the plants and harvest if need be, and then bring that stuff back into the kitchen, play with food in the kitchen. So there's just really allows a lot of freedom
Yeah.
um, of time for me, and then still being able to then when I do have a client call scheduled, then I can go right into it and do that work with those people that I so enjoy doing.
Yeah, I love it. What is something that you might have struggled with when you were trying to create your health coaching practice before you joined the Health Professional Academy that you're like, oh, this is what I was really hoping to get out of it, or something that I was struggling with? What was something before you came to us?
The IIN was great. There was just so much stuff that I learned, and but it
Yeah.
was almost too much, right? It was just like, gosh, I got all these different things coming at me,
Mm,
of health, and it's just like, so really honing in on like, what do I want to, what, like, who do I want to help,
mm.
and not so much just like, I have all of this information now, like, now what, kind of
Y-
thing, and so
Yeah.
yeah, really helped, really kind of honing in on who I want to help.
Yeah, and like um we know that a niche is important,
Mhm.
and and but as you learn there, like you could literally help anybody with anything. The problem is when we try to like help everybody with everything, then we ended up no helping no one with nothing. And so like, okay, well, we have to hone down our niche. And like, how do we do that? Well, it could be all sorts of things, and we don't want to like pigeonhole ourselves and all sorts of things. And it really is the ideal from my perspective, the ideal health coaching practice is one that is an extension of you. It's like your unique genius. And I talk about a purpose driven expert niche, like that thing that lights you up, that you do this, talk about this, even if they didn't pay you, like it's really fun. And then that thing that you're good at, that you have a track record in, your expertise. And then the sweet spot of that is your purpose-driven expert niche. And then when you're working in there, you kind of want to spend a lot of time doing that because you love it. Like you're like out in on the farm. You're like, when you love doing something, that's a clue. When you're good at it, that's a clue. When people are coming to you asking for help, that's a clue. So if you're a health coach and you're like, I don't know what my niche is, and you're trying to narrow it down, um, think of those things. What do I love to do? What are people already saying I'm really good at? And then just because you can help someone with something doesn't mean you have to help someone. Like, Jeremy could go in all sorts of directions, but it's that customizing it. And that's really like one-on-one, closely looking at your unique story and knowing your practice doesn't have to look like anybody else's. And so if you are a health coach and you're like, where do I start with covering out my niche? Grab a copy of Six Figure Health Coach. I'll give you a free copy down at the bottom. You just click that link. So Jeremy, you help people with diabetes and other chronic issues. What would you say is the biggest myth when it comes to people that are looking to solve their chronic health conditions? What is one of the biggest myths that they have?
Well, I'd say, I guess I'll answer that. There's so much information out there about health and then about what is healthy and, and what you should be doing, to fix your health. And so I guess there's a lot of myths out there, because of that.
Mhm,
They may not necessarily be myths, right? But they just might not be the information for you as an individual.
mhm,
And so for me, really being able to discover that with my clients is so important.
mhm,
What it is about that individual, as you said before about the IAN, is this. I mean, they're so good about being like this is a bio everybody's bio individual,
mhm.
So, and that really resonated with me while I was going through the courses at IIN, that it was just like, yeah, that is it. I mean, that's my issue. When I go to the doctor, I don't like to go to the doctor because of that, because it's just like, I mean, yes, the doctor knows the science behind this is the way this works and stuff, but he doesn't know me. He doesn't
Yeah.
know, like, and it's hard for me sometimes to explain to the doctor what it is that's going on inside of me. And so for me, it's like I want to help my clients like really understand what they're going through
Mhm.
and then go to the doctor kind of thing, and then take
Yeah.
that information to the doctor, So, but make sense of it because it is difficult. I mean, it's like you got this thing happening in your body, and so you start looking it up, and one person like you should do this and this and all these stuff, and you're just like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do? And then you're frozen.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely.
So having somebody as a coach that can work through these things with you to really be like, okay, now I feel good about, my symptoms or whatever, So
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not necessarily, we're not saying don't listen to your doctor or anything like that, but
also,
like just take the information and then they're like, and then trying to decipher and translate it into like, okay, what does that mean for me? Like, what can I do about it? And we're really
mhm,
working as a team together.
right.
And the one thing that I would say, the only time I would be cautious about listening to the doctor when they say there's nothing that you can do.
Right.
That's the only thing. Like as long as they're like, they're saying this and they got to do what they got to do, but they just might not have seen it before,
Right.
been taught it before. But from my experience now, having talked to thousands of people, there's always something that you can do. And so you can definitely make things worse and you can definitely make things better. So like we're not talking about absolutes of cures or this or that, but you do have a role because you're the one eating, you're the one thinking, you're the one sleeping, you're the one stressing or not.
Mhm.
So you do have a role, and those things absolutely do impact your outcome. And so take that nothing we can do with a grain of salt. My dad is proof of that. Like they said he couldn't survive, it was impossible. And I agree, as a radiologist, medically speaking, looking at that, it is impossible. And yet he walked out of there in 35 days on his own 2 feet back home with my mom and lived another 8 years and just passed just last year at the age of 90. And so there's always something that you can do.
Yeah, that's the beauty of being a health coach, is that's where we really get to explore some of those different, those different things that it's just like it's food, so
Yeah.
much to do with food, and what we eat, like there's so many instances where food cures, so
Yeah, and in defense of the medical system, for example, it's big, it's huge. They don't have time to slow down to talk all about that, especially to a non-receptive patient. Like they're not like wanting to know anything about this anyways. So that's where like somebody who's investing in a health coach is like, no, they actually want to know. They like, I want to know how to do. I don't know how to do this, but I want to be healthy. I want to do this. I just don't know what to do. I'm like, and then that's where you work together as a team. What would you say is your favorite? Well, not really your favorite part. We kind of went over that, but what would you say is how have you grown as a person in being a health coach? I just firmly believe that health coaching is the best career on the planet. Like you just have so much freedom and that, but it also is um, you are going to grow as a person, as a human yourself, as you're helping others. What would you say? How have you grown as a person as you've gone through becoming a health coach?
I'd say first and foremost, just my own awareness of my own health.
Hmm.
I could say that, I have been healthy my whole life, but maybe more by happenstance, right?
Hmm.
Just simply by because I enjoy doing things outdoors and being active and things like that, but not necessarily being super intentional about the way I eat or my stress levels or the way I sleep and different things like that. So learning about all of those aspects of your health that I think a lot of us, as a side note, a lot of us think like, oh, healthy is has to do with how many salads I eat, and it's like there's so much more to it, and
Yeah,
it's like so really becoming aware of all of that stuff um that make up health,
yeah,
how
yeah,
you could package all of that has been one of the biggest things, one of the biggest growths that I've had. But the other is really as a like a, from a like a really personal like character type of aspect is becoming a better listener. Not that I wasn't a good listener before, but I think my tendency was to be a little bit more of a teacher and like advisor and like, okay, let me give
yeah,
you the advice, and but
yeah,
now it's like really like becoming more inquisitive and curious and more of a guide to say, let's guide this person that's in front of me to get their own conclusion rather than me telling you what to do.
yeah.
Let's find out what you should be doing for yourself, kind of
Yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah, because it's all an inside job. And yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's the evolution of it, of becoming a great health coach. And people come to that in their and in their own unique and bring your own unique personality to it is also what it's all about. There's a coach kind of for everybody and find someone that you're aligned with. So I love that. If you had to go back to talk to your former self, we always like uh, I know that we have some advice. What advice we give to your former self?
Let's
Whether
see
it's some
here.
take-home lessons for your former
Yeah, it'd probably be you don't need to buy that.
self.
Just really analyzing the need versus want thing.
Yeah,
I think so many purchases that made that it just, but yeah. So
yeah. I think, and that also speaks to the type of lifestyle that you get to live now in Costa Rica. And as we're just kind of bringing things together here, I know that this place that you've created here in Costa Rica is truly special. And it's been a blessing for you and your wife, but it's going to be a blessing for so many others yet to come here. And just, take a few moments and let people know, like, what is this? And could they visit you in
sure.
Costa Rica? Could they
Yeah.
come and visit? And what would that be like? And if they know anybody, if they're in the area or if they know anyone, and again, you do virtual as well, so you don't have to travel there, but
Correct.
I mean, come on, it's going to be awesome. And so like, kind of like, tell us a little bit about what is this like? We've kind of heard a little bits, but tell us about this place and how magical and
Yeah.
amazing it is.
Yeah. So Quinta Grace is the name of our property, this farm. Grace, just because it's just we want to live that way. That's how we want to go forth, just with grace and gratitude, and all the things that kind of go with that word. It's kind of a little bit of a nebulous word, but but yeah, so we have it's sort of a homesteady type of thing, but it's going to
Mhm.
be a little bit more than that. It's not going to be just for us kind of thing. Like we're going to take this to the world. We want to be able to bring people in who are interested in doing something of their own, whether it's a homestead or just a small little patio garden or whatever it is, just to inspire people to do this for themselves. And because growing your food is not only very satisfactory, but also much more healthy.
Yeah.
Um, and then to be able to hold events where we bring people in and maybe do some brunches and do some farm to table type of education. Um, and but yeah, I think like yeah, if there's anybody out there that's thinking of coming to Costa Rica and wanting to come and see what we're doing, that's the idea is to be able to come in. And we do have some space for a rental where people could come in and stay for a few days and enjoy the farm. We're just in this amazing location where the temperature is just beautiful. I think a lot of people think of Costa Rica as probably very hot and stuff, but actually it's very mild. The temperature is extremely mild, and so uh, get some beautiful days and just this very calm and tranquil location. So yeah, really beautiful. But yeah, that's the idea. We're not just doing one type of a crop. We've got a lot of diversity. We probably have 50 different varieties of plants that we're putting in there, and so to really create the ecosystem and really just do food correctly. So.
I I just
Yeah.
I love the synchronicity and the blending and I'm like it's like feels so right time like it's blending the
Mhm.
chef and the health coach and helping people with diabetes and your wife's an esthetician as well so like it's like from that like it's just really become quite a wellness center not enormous right like but like just really wonderful and I didn't ask you this beforehand so I didn't okay this with you. So it's going to be in the form of a question. But we do have a lot of health coaches that listen to this channel. Um, and I kind of know what you're building in that. If one of them wanted to host a small retreat there, uh, it seems to me that that would be amazing. Like it would be a place where, someone speaks English, kind of you've kind of got a good sense of where Jeremy's at, and so like potentially they could come and you could teach your clients about some of this without having to go to all of the trouble of planting all of that and tending to all of that, but an opportunity to kind of like have an experience that aligns potentially with your values and you can learn yourself, but you can learn that you can visit there and find out a little bit more for a really fabulous experience, which would be in the big scheme of things in terms of the expensive retreats and things, pretty minor, so I know I didn't pre-talk about that, but is that something that like if people wanted to come through and do tours, I mean, you're not hosting the entire thing, but like if people wanted to come and go through and see it and experience it and maybe attend a workshop or have you do a cooking class or I know you mentioned people like to ask you to do knife skills and things like that, having
Yeah.
been a chef. Is
Yeah.
that something that would be like something that, they could connect with you about?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that obviously we could, if that was the conversation, we could get into more of the details and stuff. But yeah, 100%. This is really a teaching platform is the idea, is in any capacity that we could kind of let this thing evolve to, that would be amazing, And so because that's the real idea behind this is we want to get the word out not only for the healthy eating, but also how to grow healthily as well, both for ourselves and the planet, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. And you've done so much work already for yourself. And so like whether you're local and they're maybe wanting to buy some of the produce, although it's mainly originally for you guys here, but if they're wanting to buy that and then eventually for um just to teach people how to do that non-local. And of course, your health coaching practice can be anywhere in the world. It can be
Right.
virtual. So you can really serve a huge community. You are doing a tremendously great work in the world, and it's so aligned with you. And I love that you're doing it in your way. And that seems to be just, you're in the right place at the right time. How can people get in touch with you to either pick your brain or help them with their diabetes or other chronic conditions, or even maybe look at, how can they connect with you out in your neck of the woods? So, how can
Sure.
they reach you?
Yeah, so on the website, it would be bloodsugarbalancecoach.com, and certainly get in touch with me through that channel. And then on Instagram, Harmony and Grace Coach.
Awesome. Awesome. So bloodsugarbalancecoach.com and on website, and then Harmony and Grace Coach. If you want to follow them on Instagram. It has been an absolute pleasure to chat with you. I'm excited to see where this blossoms. I'm certainly going to spread the word about all of this wonderful stuff that you do. Keep shining your light and doing what you're doing. And if you are a health coach and you're like, how do I do this? How can I get my practice up and running? And what are the steps that I need to do? I've got a video here next for you to watch on the 5 steps if you're starting from scratch. And with that, have a fantastic week. And of course, as always, be good for you.